name is Tabby and I am from the University of Hawaii at Manoa Surfrider Student Club, and today I will be teaching you how to organize a club cleanup. So let's get started. So obviously the first step is going to be figuring out the date, time, and location of the cleanup. I recommend figuring this out about 4 to 6 weeks in advance to give you ample time for planning and publicity. And make sure when you're choosing your location, you're choosing one that needs a cleanup and also will be easily accessible and safe for your participants to be at. While figuring out the beginning details of your cleanup, I also recommend reaching out to other campus organizations or organizations in the community who might want to collaborate on this specific beach cleanup. The more participants that you can get, the better. Make sure that while you're planning this, you're keeping in mind whether or not your local city requires any permits, has specific debris removal processes, or anything else to be sure that you're following all your local guidelines. Also, make sure to get your event approved by Surfrider HQ by submitting your event approval form well in advance.
The next step will be to figure out the nitty-gritty details for the day of the event. Establishing teams and volunteers within those teams will help to make sure that you're delegating tasks and that everything is taken care of on the day of. Some examples of these delegated teams could be a team for gathering supplies and setup, a tabling and check-in team, sorting and data collecting for once the trash is collected, photography, breakdown, and food and water. Make sure that the team members are aware of their responsibilities and will be able to take care of it on the day of. The supply and food team will require you to figure out a few more extra details before moving forward. For the supply team, make sure to locate where you're going to be getting your supplies. Are you borrowing them from a local chapter or from somewhere else? Also, make a plan for where you will properly dispose of the debris collected. If you are able to supply food, figure out what kind of food to get, who is paying, who is picking up, and more. If you don't have the funds or ability to provide food, encourage participants to bring their own snacks instead. However, I do recommend providing a jug of water of some sort to allow members to refill their water and stay hydrated throughout the event.
Now that you've figured out all these details, now's the time to publicize. I think that the best way to do so will be through a flyer. Make sure you include all relevant information, including meeting time, date, location, etc. And also include the Surfrider logo as well as any other groups that will be collaborating with you and if they want their logo shared on the flyer. Now that you have something that will be easily distributable, I recommend publicizing about 1 month in advance. You can do so through all your outlets, including social media, newsletter, word of mouth, etc. In order to make sure that all parties know what's going to be happening on the day of the event, it's always a good idea to do a group call a few days before the event to review all the details and responsibilities that everyone will have. This way, all this information is fresh in their minds and they're ready for the event.
For setup on the day of the event, figure out what supplies and how many you're going to be grabbing. Some staple beach cleanup supplies include a scale, reusable canvas and burlap bags or buckets, hand sanitizer, printed data cards and waivers, reef-friendly sunscreen, and more. Shoot to finish setting up your beach cleanup about 30 minutes in advance of your event start time. This will provide ample time for you to be prepared for participants who arrive early.
At the beginning of the event and before the cleanup actually starts, it's always good to give a speech with all the relevant information for the day, such as the agenda, safety, etc. During the speech, make sure to include things such as safety. For instance, if there's anything sharp or dangerous looking, to let a Surfrider organizer know so that we can properly take care of it. Remind them that they don't necessarily need to touch anything that's extremely gross or unnerving, and to overall just be careful. Also, be sure to thank everyone for their time and for being there. I would also go over the agenda for the day. So for instance, how long the cleanup will actually run, if there's food and snacks, what time that will be served, and what time we are going to begin sorting the trash and wrapping up. Also, use this speech as an educational opportunity. Not all of your participants are necessarily going to be aware of your local waste management and plastic pollution issues. So this is a great way for them to get introduced to it. I would go over the sorting information, why we sort, and why it's important to collect data. Remind them that this data can be used to support legislation in the future that will benefit the environment.
Here are some general tips for the event. Use your cleanup as an opportunity to interact with participants. Beach cleanups are a great way for people to be introduced to environmentalism and to meet like-minded people. Meet new faces, build relationships, and invite them to future Surfrider events. Another tip is to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. By being over-prepared, if something unexpected happens, you'll know what to do and your event can still run smoothly. And lastly, remember to take pictures and to post it on social media.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and I wish you the best. I'm sure you will be hosting a successful event and will be making a great change in your community. Bye!